So, let's talk about that old laptop. You know the one. It's probably sitting in a closet, collecting dust. Well, today, we're going to see how you can give that machine a whole new lease on life with a completely free operating system from Google called ChromeOS Flex. We have all been there, right? You pull out an old laptop, and it takes what feels like an eternity just to boot up. It's so slow you can't even browse the web properly. And forget about running any modern software. It just feels useless, like it's destined for that big pile of e-waste. But what if I told you there's a way to make that old hardware feel fast and useful again? A way to turn it into a perfectly capable machine for all your everyday stuff. And the best part? You'd be keeping it out of a landfill. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll break down what ChromeOS Flex actually is. Then, I'm going to walk you through the entire installation, step by step. We'll also hit some of the common bumps in the road you might face and how to get past them. And finally, we'll get to the bottom line, helping you decide if this is the right move for your old computer. All right, let's dive right in. What is this thing, ChromeOS Flex, and how in the world can a piece of free software fix a computer that feels hopelessly out of date? So think of ChromeOS Flex as a super lightweight version of the operating system you'd find on a brand new Chromebook. The key difference is it's specifically built to be installed on older computers. Because it's cloud first, it doesn't need a powerful machine to run well. See, all the really heavy work happens on the web, not on the laptop itself. And just look at the difference here. On one hand, you've got an old version of Windows or Mac OS. It's heavy, it's slow, you have to worry about security, and it's all about programs installed locally. ChromeOS Flex just flips that whole idea on its head. It's built to be fast, it updates itself automatically so it's always secure, it's totally free, and it's designed for how we use computers now, with web apps and cloud storage. Now, it's not quite magic. Your old laptop does need to meet a few basic requirements. We're talking a 64-bit processor, at least 4 gigabytes of RAM, and, crucially, it has to be able to boot from a USB drive. A good rule of thumb from Google is that any computer with parts made after 2010 should give you a pretty smooth ride. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually do this thing. Here's your step-by-step guide to getting it installed. And trust me, it's way easier than you think. You really only need 3 main things to get started. The old laptop you're bringing back to life, a USB flash drive, make sure it's at least 8 gigs, and you'll need temporary access to any other working computer that has the Google Chrome browser on it. That's it. So the whole process kicks off on that working computer. You're going to install a free little add-on from the Chrome Web Store called the Chromebook Recovery Utility. Once you open it up, you just tell it you want Google Chrome OS Flex. Pick your USB drive from the list, and the utility just takes over. It downloads the OS and turns your USB stick into a bootable installer. And listen, this is really, really important. Before you hit that Create Now button, you have to be absolutely sure there is nothing on that USB drive that you need. This process will completely wipe it clean. So if you have files on there, back them up first. Okay, installation stick is ready. Great. Plug it into your old laptop. Now for the kind of tricky part. As you turn it on, you need to immediately start tapping the right key to open something called the boot menu. It's usually F12, F2, or the escape key. If you're doing this on an old Mac, you'll just hold down the Option key. Once you're in that menu, just tell it to boot from your USB drive. And here is the absolute best part. Google gives you a Try It First option. This lets you run the entire operating system right from the USB stick without touching a single thing on your hard drive. It's the perfect way to test everything out before you commit. And this brings us to the final, most critical warning. If you do choose to install it for real, it will permanently, and I mean permanently, delete everything on the laptop's hard drive. Your old operating system, all your files, your photos, everything will be gone. This does not create a dual boot. This is a one-way street. But hey, this is the real world, and especially when you're dealing with all sorts of old hardware, things don't always go according to plan. So let's talk about what happens if you hit a snag. We'll cover the most common problems and, more importantly, how you can fix them. This is, hands down, the #1 issue people run into. You get through the whole installation, your new OS boots up super fast, you're all excited, and then nothing. You can't get online. No Wi-Fi networks show up at all. So what's going on here? Well, the cause is almost always an unsupported Wi-Fi card inside the laptop. ChromeOS Flex just doesn't have the right driver for it. But don't worry, you have 3 really solid options. The absolute easiest fix is to just buy a cheap little USB Wi-Fi adapter. If you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can actually open up the laptop and replace the internal card, or there's a really neat trick you can do with your smartphone. This is such a great workaround. If you have an Android phone, just plug it into the laptop with a USB cable, go into your phone settings, and turn on USB tethering. The laptop will think your phone is a wired internet connection. Just one huge tip, make sure your phone is connected to your home Wi-Fi when you do this, otherwise you'll be using up all your mobile data. Okay, the other big potential letdown is performance. You went through all this effort to get a faster machine, but what if it still feels kind of sluggish? Well, if your machine is still slow, it usually points to a deeper problem with the hardware. Maybe it's a graphics chip that Flex doesn't get along with, or maybe the components are just a bit too old, from before that 2010 guideline we talked about. And this is exactly why that try it first option is so incredibly valuable. It lets you find these kinds of deal-breaking issues before you wipe your entire drive. So, after all is said and done, we arrive at the million-dollar question. Is doing all this actually the right move for you? Let's break down exactly who this is perfect for and who might want to think twice. Look, ChromeOS Flex is absolutely fantastic for all the basic stuff. If all you need is a computer for browsing the web, checking your email, writing in Google Docs, or streaming some Netflix, it is a game changer. It's an amazing way to create a secondary couch computer or a simple, safe laptop for a kid. But, and this is a big but, if you rely on specific desktop software like Photoshop or you want to do any real PC gaming, you should be very cautious. And one key thing to remember, unlike normal Chromebooks, ChromeOS Flex does not support Android apps from the Google Play Store. When you really think about it, ChromeOS Flex is more than just a freebie OS. It's a powerful statement about sustainability. It proves that with the right software, old hardware isn't necessarily obsolete. It might just be waiting for a new purpose. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In a world that's always pushing us to get the next shiny upgrade, what other technology are we throwing away that might just be waiting for its second life? Thanks for joining me.